Maybe you're taking a timed exam. Maybe an assignment is due sooner than you expected. Or maybe you simply want to stop spending hours staring at a blank document. You don't need hours to write a clear, organized essay. You need a system for how to plan, draft, revise, and proofread an essay in only 30 minutes or less. Before writing anything, read and reread the essay prompt or question carefully. One of the biggest mistakes students make is beginning to write before fully understanding what the assignment is asking for. Look for task words the teacher provides. These are verbs such as analyze, compare, explain, evaluate, describe, discuss, defend, and argue. These words tell you what your instructor expects. For example, if the prompt says, compare online learning with traditional classroom learning, you must discuss the similarities and differences of both. You really have no other choice. Same if the prompt says, argue whether college students should be required to take financial literacy courses. Here, you must take a clear position or stance on required financial courses. Then provide reasons to support your position. In other words, never simply write down everything you know about the topic. Your job is always to answer the specific question you were given. During these first 3 minutes, you should also identify 4 things. 1. The topic. 2. The task. In other words, what are you being asked to do? To compare, contrast, argue, define, prove, illustrate, etc. Next, the requirements. These include word count, number of paragraphs, required sources, formatting rules, etc. And then the audience. If the essay doesn't name a target audience, your default should be to write for an educated reader who is interested in the topic but isn't an expert. You now have 3 minutes to create a thesis and basic outline. Don't skip this step. Writing without an outline may feel faster, but it can also cause you to repeat ideas, lose focus, or reach the middle of the essay without knowing what to say next. Your thesis has only 2 jobs. 1, to state your position on the topic, and 2, to preview your main supporting points. For example, consider this thesis. Schools should require financial literacy courses because they prepare students to manage debt, create realistic budgets, and make informed financial decisions. As you see, this thesis clearly states the writer's position or stance on the topic of financial literacy courses. Then it previews 3 supporting points. Those 3 points then become the topics of your body paragraphs. So, a quick outline might look something like this. Introduction, describe the problem, and end the paragraph with the thesis. Body paragraph 1. Your topic sentence would be, first, financial literacy helps students manage debt. Body paragraph 2. Second, financial literacy teaches students to create realistic budgets. Body paragraph 3. Finally, financial literacy helps students make informed decisions. In conclusion, here you could reinforce the importance of financial literacy to future success. That's all the outline you usually need for a typical essay. Now, you have 2 minutes for your introduction. A strong introduction for an academic essay contains 3 parts in this order. 1. A general statement about the topic. The goal here is to signal you're on the prompt. You're on topic. Next, 2 to 3 sentences that lead gradually to the thesis. In part 3, the thesis, stated as the paragraph's last sentence. Here's an example introduction paragraph. First, we introduced the overall topic. Many students graduate knowing how to analyze literature or solve complex equations, but not how to create a simple monthly budget. Next, add 2 to 3 sentences whose purpose is to lead directly to the thesis. For example, students often take on loans, use credit cards, and make major financial decisions before having any formal financial education. They may have graduated, but they aren't ready for life. Then you place your thesis at the end. Schools should require financial literacy courses to prepare students to manage debt, create realistic budgets, and make informed financial decisions. As you see, the best location for the thesis is usually the final sentence of the introduction. Why? Because this position showcases the thesis and leads directly into the body of the essay. You now have 14 minutes to write your body paragraphs. That gives you approximately 4 to 5 minutes for each paragraph. No problem, because each body paragraph will follow a simple structure. State, explain, support, conclude. Let's break it down. In sentence 1, you state the topic sentence. Sentence 2, you explain the topic sentence. Sentences 3 through 6, you support the topic sentence with evidence and examples. Sentences 7 through 8, you use those to connect the paragraph back to your thesis as you explain why that evidence matters. Now, you have a complete and focused body paragraph for your academic essay. You simply repeat this same process for your other supporting points, one per body paragraph. Your goal during this drafting stage is to get your ideas onto the page. Type or write as fast as you can. Ignore spelling and typos. If you can't think of the perfect word, write any word or words, or type a series of X's and continue. In this first draft, the key is to always keep going. If you're unsure about a sentence, highlight it or place a quick note beside it. You can return to it during the next stage, which is revision. Now, you have 2 minutes to write a conclusion. Don't introduce any new argument here. Instead, restate your thesis using the same key words and explain why the issue matters. For example, requiring financial literacy courses would give students practical knowledge about debt, budgeting, and responsible financial decision-making. Students could avoid costly mistakes and enter adulthood with greater confidence. That's why schools should prepare students not only for successful careers, but also for the financial responsibilities that accompany them. Now notice how that conclusion does not simply copy the original thesis. In other words, when you end confidently. Now, you have 3 minutes to revise. Remember, revision isn't the same as proofreading. During revision, you're checking the quality of your ideas. Begin by reading only your thesis statement and the first sentence of each body paragraph. Ask yourself, do they match? If your thesis promises 3 reasons, your body paragraphs should discuss those same 3 reasons in the same general order. Next, check each body paragraph. Does it contain evidence or a specific example to support that main idea? Delete any sentence that repeats information or moves away from the main point you're discussing in that paragraph. You now have 3 minutes left. This is the first time you focus on grammar, spelling, punctuation, and formatting. The first time. So, read your essay slowly. Better yet, try reading it out loud. Your ears may notice missing words, repeated phrases, or awkward sentences that your eyes overlooked. Look specifically for these major errors: sentence fragments, run-on sentences, incorrect apostrophes, confusion between words such as there, inconsistent verb tenses. Run your spelling and grammar check at this point. Finally, recheck your thesis statement, topic sentences, and final sentence. These are the most notable sentences in the essay, so make sure they are clear and correct. Then, submit the essay. So, let's recap. The key is to give every stage a time limit, whether you stay within the ones I gave or you create your own. Without a time limit, you may spend 15 minutes creating the first paragraph and then rush through the rest of the essay. However, a strong essay does not require a perfect first draft. It requires a clear thesis, organized paragraphs, relevant support, and a few minutes of focused revision. You may not always have 30 minutes to write an essay. Regardless, the same process still works.